Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about all the books that I'm going to read for the month of June. So where I live, June is the month of monsoon and it's really beautiful, especially if you love the color green, because when rain comes, everything looks even more greener if that is possible. The roads look all washed up and there are dark clouds looming over your head all the day. It's really a nice atmosphere. I know there are a lot of adverse things that happen in the monsoon, but still, let's look at the bright side for now. Given the climate, I usually love to read fantasy books or books with dark themes, serious books. But if you know me, my favorite genre is women's fiction, contemporary women's fiction. So I go back and forth, I'm a mood reader, so I read one or two fantasy and then I switch back to contemporary. So I have created a mixed TBR from both the genres. So without any delay, let's look at the books that I'm going to read this month. So the first book is Catalyst by Tracy Richardson. This book, I have already completed this book because as you can see, this video is coming out in the second week of June. So I've already completed this one. For the Right Grades blog tour. This is a YA fantasy book and it is the second one in the Catalyst series. The first one is called Field. I have not read it, but I think this is pretty much a standalone book because the first one was probably a base for the story and the second one is where the actual Catalyst theme is starting. The book is about Marcy, a young girl who has a spiritual connection with a Native American spirit in the first book. It is mentioned in the second book, so we just pick up the fact. And she is working in her mother's digging site, archaeological digging site for summer. Marcy has this yearning for the higher purpose after her supernatural experience with the Native American spirit. She yearns for this higher connection, for higher purpose. And when she comes across some mystic elements in this digging site, she finds this superior energy that wants to work with her to basically save Earth and its resources as it is. But Marcy also has to fight off humanity's biggest enemy, their own greed for power and money. Since I finished this book, I can say I did not actually love it, but the idea, the concept is really unique, something that we all know, but the book takes a really different approach to the whole topic of, protecting the Earth, the environment and our resources. And how we need to work on it. On that aspect, I enjoyed the book. So the next book is Vanitas, Promises Forged by Debris Walls. I am currently reading this book and this is also for another blog tour by the Right Grades. So if you can't tell, I usually participate in a lot of blog tours for the Right Grades. So this is the second book in the Vanitas series. The first one was Vanitas Magic Unleashed. I have already talked about this book in my April or May video. I will leave the link if you're interested. So this is an urban YA fantasy novel that follows Rune and Grey, who are two usual teenagers, but suddenly they are plugged into this magical realm. The first book is all about what this magical place is, what is the purpose. Rune and Grey are the Vanitas. They are brought to this side of the world, and what is the purpose? That was what we saw in the first book. So in the second book, it starts from where the first book has finished, and Rune's brother Riker is held captive by this witch Zoe, and Vanitas usually have this darker urges. They are very powerful, strong, and at times their strength and abilities can make them these killing machines. Rune fears for her brother because he might get dark, but also Rune has this darker side and she needs Grey to balance her. So they both try to find their way among the council. There is a council in this magical realm which is equivalent to a governing body, and it consists of different species that belong to this realm, Eon, and they have members from each species. We have werewolves, vampires, succubus, fays. There is a lot of politics and intrigue going on, and Rune and Grey are completely clueless, much like the readers. So they have to find their way around these people to get what they want. Then Grey goes and falls under the clutches of an evil fey queen, Fina, and Rune has to go out on a rescue mission, and she has her companions whom we are already familiar with in the first book. Tate, and Verida, the vampire, Beltran, the shapeshifter. So it's very action-focused adventure, but there is also layers to these characters. Each one has a motive, and it's full of twists and turns because you can't trust one character. They might have some ulterior motive, and they might give you up for their own needs. So it's very an interesting read. It's a very captivating read as far as the first book goes, and I have started the second book, and it is also interesting so far. So the next book is Beach Read by Emily Henry. So after reading 2 fantasies, I would definitely go for a lighter contemporary fiction book, which is Beach Read by Emily Henry. As you all know, in the bookish community, this book has been receiving great reviews. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. The book is about 2 writers, Augustus and January. Augustus is a literary fiction writer and January is a romance writer, but both of them are going through a writer's block, and they are spending some time alone in this beach house, and they're living next door, and then they decide to switch their genres. On the surface, this looks like a romantic comedy, but from the reviews I have learned that this is more than a romantic comedy. It is about personal growth, how you overcome grief. It is a lot more than just a romantic comedy. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. The next book is Crossing in Time, D.L. Orton. This is again a White Rage Blog 2 book for me. So this is a fantasy book. I'm happy that all the fantasy books, Block 2s are coming out in June because that really aligns with my mood reading. Crossing in Time is again dystopian love story. We follow the character named Isabel. She is given a chance to go to the past and meet her lover for one last time. So her lover has been killed in the present and she has a one-way ticket to go to the past. If she goes to the past, she will lose the chance to be with him. But she can save his life, but she will also lose him to someone else. So that is a dilemma. I don't know what happens. I'm really curious to know because this is a romance meeting fantasy both, and I love books about time travel, so I'm really looking forward to reading this. The next is Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. I think I don't have to say much about this book. I mean, it has already grabbed the attention of everyone at the time it came out. And I brought it from the Big Book Box in 2019, but I never got around reading it because, this is a book that I bought, and so I kept pushing it because I had arcs to read and block 2s started coming up. Usually you push back the books that you really want to read. So I'm finally sitting down and reading this book because this is a good time as any. Black Leopard, Red Wolf is an adult fantasy novel set in the African forest. So it is the first book in the Dark Star trilogy. We follow a character named Tracker who is a hunter. I mean, that's a nameplay right there. He is a lone wolf. He just operates alone. But for this particular mission, he has to break his rules because he becomes part of a hunting team. I think it is assigned by some powerful queen. They are all looking for a missing child. It's like a group of misfits going out on an adventure, that kind of story. I'm really hoping it is that. And this group involves a shape-shifting leopard, a giant, and a witch. This is again, I think, something much more complex than Vanitas. Shifting loyalties and mystery, adventure and action in the African forest. So given the climate and my mood reading, this is the perfect book to start, and I really have a matching themed bookmark for this month. So if all the other reasons are not enough, I'm really looking forward to read this one because I have a matching bookmark. Okay, that's silly, I know. But yeah. So the next book is The Never Have I Ever Club by Mary Jane Baker. This is an Ed Kelly e-arc, and I basically requested it because I just love the cover. It looks very pleasant and I loved it. This takes place in a Yorkshire village. Robin Bloom thinks she is madly in love with Ash until he leaves her behind to fly somewhere far. And Robin is left all alone and she's dejected and she cannot move on. And that's when she forms the Never Have I Ever Club. And soon she gets involved with this club and all the villagers join in, and she finds out that each one of them have some amazing bucket list. Robin finally comes out of her grief and she finds herself falling for her next door neighbor, Will. But there's the catch, right? Because Will is Ash's twin brother, and at some point Ash is coming back and he wants Robin back. Yeah, I think this is a common trope these days, dating the ex's brother. So the another book that I read with the same trope was The Worst Best Man, by Mia Sosa. I love that book. I hope this one is equally good. The last book that I want to read this month is Ricochet by Catherine Bella. This is another NetGalley e-arc that I requested in October 2019. I requested earlier and it was coming out in October 2019. And yes, I haven't read the e-arc. I hoped I could read it by October, but it didn't happen. So I just shifted the fantasy for now. I hope that's okay. This is again a science fiction fantasy mix. I get a feeling of the orphan black meets man in the high castle story because it has both parallel lives and, different version of the self thing. So we follow a character called Tati. I hope I'm saying the names correct because I'm not familiar with it. Forgive me. Tati gets an inconclusive, DNA test, those sequence that you get tested to find out your ancestral genomes. She gets an inconclusive result and Tati wants to know what's wrong with her DNA. So she sets out to find out the truth. And when you dig deeper, you discover something completely unreal. So Tati finds out that there is a multiverse and there are 3 other versions of herself. So one version is a shy girl, another is a privileged teenager, and third is a girl on the run. So all these versions of herself need to work together if they have to survive, because if the secret gets out, their lives are in danger. People will want to conduct all sorts of experiments on them, and the only way to survive is to bring down the evil scientist who created them. That sounds like a thrilling, suspenseful fantasy read, and those are all the books that I want to read. My limit is 5 books a month, but I'm really pushing myself this year and so far I've succeeded. So I have a bonus book for this month if I finish all the other books, and that is Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. I have finished the Game of Thrones 2 years back in 2018, I think. It took me a long time to finish that one. That is why I put this in the bonus book list, because it might be that I would take quite a few months to finish this. If I finish all these books, I will be starting this because I really want to read the book, and this is the second book. So if you know what happens in the season 2, you would know why I am taking my time with this one. I need time to recover. Those are all the books that I'm going to read in the month of June. It is actually 7 with a bonus book that will make it 8. I hope I will get through all of them. If you have read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts in the comments, or if you have any books that you think I would like, please let me know in the comment sections. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to get more bookish updates and discussions. I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.